it's a new year. Well, it's the end of the first month of the new year. And whenever you say new year, that means that maybe you set up a resolution. You set up some goals that you want to achieve. And this is the end of the first month. So maybe it's time to sit down with yourself and see how you performed. Are you still keeping true to the vision that you set for yourself? Or are you lagging already? Usually, what happens is you start a little bit, then you crash, and you can't find the energy to continue. I'll do it tomorrow, is what you tell yourself over and over and over and over and over and over again and again and again. And eventually, days become weeks, weeks become months, and eventually it's the end of the year again. And now it's too late. Or maybe you still got some time left to make it. So you do a half-assed job, fueled by the anxiety of your deadline, and you barely make it. But the product is mediocre and doesn't in any way reflect your potential and what you're truly capable of. That, my dear friends, is procrastination. We are all familiar with it, and we all do it in some shape or another, and in some aspect or another of our lives. Basically, it's delaying a task that we think is important. We all struggle with it, and today I want to share with you some ideas that can help in dealing with it, and maybe even stop doing it altogether. So let's start by talking about some causes of procrastination. The first cause, and it's a simple one, the task that you want to accomplish is difficult, and it requires a lot of hard work, and you feel discouraged from starting it, because it seems to be overwhelming. It overwhelms you and you get paralyzed. That's the first cause. But let's go a bit deeper into exploring some other causes. It could be that procrastination is some form of a trauma response, because all you want to be is having a peaceful existence, and the tasks, the important tasks of life, just disturb your peace, and you don't feel like you have the energy to be functional. That could be a reason. Another reason could be that you are excited about doing a task, and because of that, you want to prolong those feelings, those positive feelings of excitement and anticipation. You look forward to doing something, you have high expectations of it, but then you start worrying that you may not live up to those expectations, and you'd rather anticipate and be excited. It's like getting high of those feelings, of those positive feelings of excitement and anticipation, and you would rather not risk disappointment. That could be a reason too. Another cause could be because you get bored easily. Like, it's just a little silly task, some dumb task that you have to do, but it's just so boring, and you put it to the side. You don't think it's a priority right now. You got better things to do. Most of the time, people procrastinate on tasks that they consider boring. Another possible cause is that you have no drive. What I mean by that is that the task is part of a pursuit of something that you do not truly desire. I'll talk more in detail about that later. For the most part, what I noticed is that most people who are active, who accomplish tasks, they have some sort of fire under their ass that forces them to move. By that, it could be something like that. Like they're so deep in bed that they have to keep working. Maybe it's because they have children. And when you have children, you can't just lay around and do nothing because the children are dependent on you, so you need to get out there and work and accomplish something. Another reason could be shame and parental expectations. You are trying to live up to somebody else's expectations of you. especially parents. And with all of these, it is energized mainly by fear and negativity, because you know that if you don't do this task, something bad will happen. So, in a way, we can be grateful that we don't have that fire under our ass that is threatening us, that sort of Damocles that's over our head, threatening us to keep moving and pursuing something that we do not necessarily desire, but we have to, otherwise there will be terrible consequences. So we can be grateful about that. And in a deep philosophical way, maybe that's the way humans are supposed to function. Like we were designed that way. It's our human nature to only do the bare minimum necessary and nothing else. And if you don't have something threatening you, then there's nothing forcing you to move. But anyway, we talked enough about the causes. I think those are the main causes. If I forgot about any, let me know in the comments. Now let's talk about solutions. I think you heard this over and over and over again, but the most important solution that I can give you, that anybody will give you, even the dumbest person will give you, is discipline. You just disregard your feelings and you just do it. But that's basically what everybody else does. If you are listening to this video, it's mainly because it's what you do also, and it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because it's unsustainable. You're trying to use willpower, and you can muster enough energy to start, but eventually you crash. So maybe discipline is useful to getting started, but it's not sustainable in the long run. And speaking of getting started, that is the hardest part. The most difficult part is starting, but once you gain momentum, you become unstoppable. So that is where discipline becomes useful. It becomes useful to getting started, because getting started will help you gain momentum, and momentum is very powerful in dealing with procrastination. Also, a very important thing is don't judge your goals as impossible or difficult. And that's very important because, like I said previously, one of the main causes is discouragement because the task is difficult. But if you don't judge your task and you just focus on it and maybe divide it into smaller subtasks that you can do and focus on individually, like just focusing on the task at hand, slowly but surely you will start making progress on your goal. So do not try to judge or label your task or goal as impossible or difficult. It's counterproductive and useless. It's pointless to do that. Just focus on the task at hand and that's it. Another thing that helps with procrastination, it's having a stable routine. Having a stable routine means that you have to eliminate distractions, because a routine cannot be sustainable if you have distractions coming at you left and right. And distractions mainly come from people. So you need first to set up a routine that is enjoyable and that's not forced, and one that is in alignment with your lifestyle. Like, let's say for example, you're not a morning person, you like to wake up late, and you feel like you are the most productive during the night. So set up a routine where you can do most of the work during the night. A routine must be enjoyable and must not be forced. You can't just do what somebody else is doing and apply it to your life. You have to do what works for you. And if it means doing something completely different, that's fine. As long as it works, that's all that matters. And also, work at your own pace. There are different styles of being productive. Some people, they like to work for prolonged periods of time, like 3 hours of work is how they can function. Other people, they can't do that, they get bored easily, they prefer to do 15-minute intervals. Maybe they start to work for 15 minutes, then they take a break, they come back 15 minutes, take a break, and they do that over and over again. Everybody's different. So you need to find what works for you and implement that into your routine. People also tend to procrastinate because they take on, or they try to take on too much all at once. Like they try to accomplish a big task in one go. And as we said previously, this will cause discouragement because you're making it too difficult for you. It is better to do small and consistent actions, making them part of your routine and doing them every day. You don't have to make a huge progress, but you have to be consistent nonetheless. Because, let's be honest with ourselves, it is better to make a very, very tiny progress every day than to do nothing. Because when you procrastinate, you're making zero progress. So I'd rather have you make 0.1% progress daily than to have you make zero progress. Because these small victories will help you gain something very important that we touched on, and that's momentum. And gaining momentum is crucial to dealing with procrastination. And it is something that you need to protect at all cost. So watch out, because sometimes you start being productive, you make progress, you gain momentum, and then something happens, like a distraction that we talked about previously. An upsetting trigger happens that forces you to stop, and eventually you just crash because you lost your momentum. And now you have to restart from zero, and you start procrastination again, and eventually you put the task back to the side burner. So the solution is what I said previously, having a simple routine that you can implement, like a simple program that you can bounce back on when you lose your momentum. Always pick yourself back up, and also identify what the distracting triggers are, and try to eliminate them from your life. Or if you can't do that, at least try to manage them in a way where you can be productive without them distracting you and putting your work off. And finally, and I think this is the most important thing to deal with procrastination, is to know what you truly desire. This is where motivation is going to play a huge role. Because, look, some people desire to be at peace, and that's fine. They don't want to accomplish anything. They just want to live peacefully. If they can do that, and having their necessary needs met, that's fine by me. I'm not judging that. Which leads me to my next point, and thus differentiating between wanting something and needing something. If you need something, you're gonna go get it. When I say need something, it means the basic necessities of life. Food, for example. If there's no food in the house, you have to move. You have to go to the grocery store to buy something. Otherwise you're gonna starve. Another example is having money versus being rich. Like having money, you need it. That is a need. If you don't have money, you can't survive. But being rich is not something that you need. So long as you have the basic amount of money to survive, you don't need to be rich. But most people don't need to be rich. They want to be rich, but they don't need it. So, when you want something, ask yourself, why do you want this thing? Do you really want these goals? Or are you just following other people's or society's expectations of you, of what you should want? If you find that you really don't care, then it is time to consider what your goals and what you want. Actions have meaning when there's motivation, and the motivation comes from inside or is driven by a stimulus, by an external stimulus, usually something painful. So we can say that motivation is driven by pleasure or by pain. You're gonna do something because not doing it is painful, or because it gives you pleasure. And ideally we want to do something because it gives us pleasure, instead of running away from something, like what everybody else does. So if you have your needs taken care of, and you still want to accomplish something, then understand that wanting something depends on your energy levels and your willpower. So you need to make sure that you have enough energy to pursue whatever it is that you want to pursue. And of course, how you get energy: enough food, good rest, good sleep, and a little bit of exercise to get the energy moving and not be stagnant in your body. And the best way to set up goals is to set up goals that are in alignment with your authentic desires and that bring you joy and happiness, and do not come from fake desires based on proving something to someone or living up to external demands and expectations from the people around you, or society, or parents, or whatever. So ask yourself, What is it that you truly desire? And why do you desire it? These are the most important questions that you need to ask yourself. The answers are not easy, and you will need to meditate on them daily. Okay, I guess that's about it. This is some crazy good info that I shared with you. So good in fact that I'm gonna have to return to the video myself, as a reminder from time to time. If you're listening to this video, and you found it helpful but you're not gonna subscribe or at least put a thumbs up, then you're just being exploitative and unreasonable. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, if you have any questions or want me to discuss a particular topic, just drop me a comment and I'll make a video response. Well, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And remember, it's a crazy world out there, so y'all be safe. And I'll talk to you